Johnny Murray here, and welcome to a brand new review. Now, today we're going to be talking about Gears of War. Now, what happened was a couple months ago during all the summer events, I basically made a commitment that I would make a full list of games that I either wanted to A, play for the first time that I've never played before, or B, games I wanted to replay. Because what happened was during all the events, the Xbox show, Ubisoft event, Summer Games Fest, Nintendo Direct, PlayStation State of Play, it kind of sparked this want to just play as much as possible and just play as many different franchises as possible. And one of those big factors were, well, there were two franchises specifically that made me feel this way. And one of them was Gears of War, and one of them was Metroid. Now, basically, as soon as E-Day was announced, man, like, I wanted to go back and play that original trilogy. And that's what I'm doing. Now, I've already beat 1. I have also beat 2. I think I started 3. But yeah, we're gonna do a Gears of War 2 review in the coming weeks. But yeah, I also decided as I play and finish these games, I'm just gonna do reviews because I realized a lot of these games I never did reviews on because I played them in a time where I didn't do this. It was just like only talked about new upcoming games. I didn't talk about games that I played that came out in prior years. And so yeah, I'm just gonna be doing a lot more reviews on the channel of games that I just play that maybe don't come out this year or came out a long time ago, but I feel like talking about. And so the first one here is Gears of War. Like I said, Gears of War E-Day was announced. And yeah, it kind of made me want to replay that original trilogy, so here we are. Now, if you guys love gaming, if you guys love Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, third-party games, whatever, indie games, it doesn't matter. If you love video games like I do, please consider subscribing and sharing with your friends. I appreciate any support you guys do give me, especially on the one on this video. Gears of War. Where do I start with this, man? Gears of War is one of the most iconic, I would say, inspirational Xbox franchises that they've ever had. I mean, it's been around since the 360 days, and I remember when the original Gears of War trilogy came out, they were the thing. They were the Xbox game alongside Halo. Halo was the Xbox franchise, but Gears of War was so big, and it was such a big draw for the Xbox brand. The fact that you could play entire campaigns co-op, the fact that there was horde mode, the multiplayer, it was the full package. And the big thing about it is that it's so good. It's at face value, it's these big, like, very massive soldiers with a bunch of futuristic, post-apocalyptic suits of armor and weapons fighting this alien species in this duck and cover game. A lot of shooting, a lot of violence. But at the core of it was characters that you just got so emotionally attached to, that you just found so relatable. Not that, you know, you're in an alien invasion yourself, but a lot of the emotions you're going through, you can connect that to the things that these characters are going through as well. And there's also horror elements to it. There's epic elements to it. There's a lot of great elements within the Gears of War, especially in the original trilogy, that people don't really get if you just look at it at face value. And I think that's what's so special about Gears of War. While yes, Halo is more iconic, and while Halo has probably been more popular for, you know, its entire lifespan, I do believe Gears of War is Xbox's best franchise when it just comes to storytelling, when it comes to gameplay, when it comes to how well was it able to garner its community. Gears of War community is strong. I would say the Gears of War community is much stronger than the Halo community. They have been there through thick and through, and they are they follow these games like crazy. And I'm very fortunate to even call myself a Gears of War fan, because when I see some of the following that Gears of War has, people are, they love this series, and I understand why, because I absolutely love this series as well. Now let's get talking about it. Gears of War 1. Does it hold up today? Now, this game, the original game, I do believe released in 2006, 2006, I do believe. It's either 2006 or through 2008. It's one of those 3 years. I do believe it's 2000. I don't know. I'm going to say 2006, but I'm really not sure. But I went ahead and played the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War 1. It's pretty much the remaster that released on the Xbox One. I played that version. It's just the best way to play the game, and I recommend doing that as well. Does it hold up? That's the big question, and I think it absolutely does. If you told me this game released on the Xbox One, I'd absolutely believe you. Low-key, the technical feats that this game was able to do honestly shocked me playing it in 2024, and I was like, man, this game was kind of ahead of its time. Like, this looks like it would be the best game to release during those years. And I mean, we all know that is kind of what happened. These were some of the best games to release that year. And yeah, it absolutely holds up, and it's still just an incredible experience. Now, here's the thing I will say about the Gears of War game, just the first one as a whole. I do feel like there is a little bit of repetitiveness with the gameplay loop, and I do feel like it is really, really short. I don't remember it being that short. I think I beat the first game in like maybe 6.5 hours. It was super duper short, and you know, I think that's a good and bad thing. Number one, it's nice and concise. It's a streamlined game. It's very linear, and I personally like that. But I do think in terms of just that first game, if you just take that first game out of the trilogy, I don't think the first game is necessarily all that special. I know that might be a hot take for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I love the first game, and you'll see that with my score that I give it at the end of this game. And that's something else. With a lot of these games I'm going to be reviewing, I'm going to be giving it a score. I did decide I am just going to stick to a 0 out of 10 scale, but I'm also going to add in a tier scale. So I'll give you my number score and where I think it goes on a tier list. But I think when you just take this first game, I think it is the perfect groundwork. It is the perfect start to a franchise. You establish these characters, you establish the threat, you establish the world you're in without doing anything that will blow your mind. There is no moment where, you know, tears might run down your face. There is no moment where you like your mind explodes because you didn't see this plot twist coming. There is no moment where you're like, yo, this was one of the most epic moments in all of gaming. There is no moment. This game is purely introducing you to a world with gameplay that is super duper fun, and I absolutely appreciate that. I think there are some games that kind of take itself too seriously at times. This game does not. It's like, yo, let's put this awesome setting with this awesome concept, and let's just make it super duper fun. And that's exactly what this game is. I do think, like I said, the gameplay loop does get a little bit repetitive. You know, you'll do this firefight, you'll have this shootout with a bunch of aliens. You'll walk, you'll turn a few corners, then you'll have the same thing over again. Maybe with a different couple enemy types. It does get a little bit repetitive, but I also think that's where the length of the game comes in handy. It doesn't drag on for too long. Now, story-wise, I already said this is a great establishment game. This is a great start. With that said, they established the relationship between Marcus Phoenix, our main character, and Dom, as well as Baird and Cole, very, very well. I think that original squad is just so loved, and all four of those characters just mesh so well with each other, and this game helps establishes that. As well as I do think the antagonists, I honestly can't think of what the aliens are called at the top of my head right now, which is an absolute L because I literally just played this game like a month ago at this point, but shame on me. But yeah, they do a really good job at establishing the threat. Now, this game does take place in 5 acts. I do think all 5 acts are very consistent to one another. I don't think one act was necessarily worse or better than the others. But I do appreciate how different they go about the acts. You know, there are certain chapters within the acts where you'll have to either choose to go left or right, and then each squad mate will go in a different direction. Sometimes you have to solve puzzles. to help get the other side across. I do appreciate how there are some levels where you're driving a giant tank. I appreciate where there's some levels where you're just on a turret shooting flying creatures. I think the final act where you're running across a train is super duper cool. I do think each act is very consistent in delivering variety as well as cool moments that stand out and will kind of stick in your brain. The music is also really great. I will say Gears of War has never been one of the best when it comes to music, but it does the job. Like, you know, if you ask me what are some of my favorite OSTs, I'm not going to say Gears of War, but if you ask me, yo, does Gears of War have good music? I'm absolutely telling you yes. And then in terms of the gameplay, I think this is the big thing for Gears of War. I mean, obviously, we're talking about Gears of War. The big thing is gameplay. I really like it. It still is that benchmark for run, duck, and cover shooting, mindless shooting, violent stuff. And I think it still holds up. You know, there's a lot of different weapon varieties, whether you were talking about the AR, the pistol, whether you're talking about the sniper, shotgun, or even the Hammer of Dawn. Man, we absolutely love the Hammer of Dawn. You get grenades. You get your melee attack, obviously, with the Lancer. The chainsaw gun, if you guys don't know, that it's called the Lancer. All of it is very fun. You get a lot of variety that I think you can utilize very well. My personal favorite part about the whole combat, I know this is like really weird. I know other games have this, but it just hits different in Gears of War, is the reloading system. When you reload, there's like this little like slider that you basically have to time your reload perfectly to save like a bunch of time reloading, because a reload could take up to like 3 seconds to do, but if you time it right, it'll be like a 1 second reload. I think that just adds a whole nother layer of staying focused and being engaged with the gameplay. I think it's really cool to do that, especially when you're running, ducking, and covering behind all these walls. It really is just a fun little addition to it. And then, yeah, I think the aiming and the actual shooting itself, control-wise, the game is still really good. Like, the game is super polished, and I absolutely love that, especially when you just have this remaster within the Ultimate Edition. You can just play a really polished, classic game that still holds up in 2024, and I think that's absolutely awesome. Now, I will say, I do think the franchise gets better every entry up until 4. But Gears of War 1 is still a special game. It is still one of the most iconic, legendary Xbox games / franchises of all time. And therefore, I think giving it anything lower than a 9 is a discredit and honestly an L take. It just is. It's a fun game that you can just have fun. I'm going to be giving it a 9 out of 10. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Also, I said I was going to do that. I think it goes on the A tier. I think it is an A tier game. I don't think it's S, but I think it's A tier. I think it's phenomenal. I just think, you know, the repetitiveness. I think the fact that there are no, like, complete standout story moments within this game. And I do think the fact that this is more of a groundwork game does put it definitely below a lot of the other Gears of War games, because I'll tell you right now, 2 and 3 are definitely a step ahead, but what 1 was able to accomplish will never be forgotten, and I absolutely love it. 9 out of 10, A tier game. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Johnny Moore out. Peace.